Yeah.
So has the U.S. government received any messages directly or indirectly from Iran about what they might do next if Israel retaliates?
We often receive messages from them. I'm not going to comment on the detail. I'm not going to comment on any messages we might have received, let alone what the contents of those would be. But I would say, just as a general practice, oftentimes the messages that we do receive track pretty closely with the things that you hear them say publicly.
On
Go.
this matter, how
Yeah.
do you view the Iranian president visit to Qatar a day after they launched the 200 missiles to Israel?
I don't have any comment at all. Those countries have had relations for some time. All right, go ahead.
A Yazidi woman was freed after being trafficked to Gaza. What role did the U.S. play in her rescue? And the circumstances of her captivity seem undoubtedly horrific, but can you explain why the U.S. chose to intervene in this particular case?
So you're right. We did recently help safely evacuate from Gaza a young Yazidi woman so she could be reunited with her family in Iraq. The circumstances of this case really hard to describe. This is a now young woman who 10 years ago, when she was an 11-year-old girl, was kidnapped by ISIS in Iraq, sold, and forced to marry a Hamas fighter in Gaza, moved to Gaza against her will. The recent death of her captor in Gaza allowed her to escape. And we were contacted by the Iraqi government, who was made aware of the fact that she escaped, that she was alive, and that she wanted to come home to her family. And the government of Iraq asked us to do whatever we could to get her out of Gaza and get her home. So over the past few weeks, we worked with a number of our partners in the region to get her out of Gaza, to get her safely home, obviously with the government of Israel, and with other partners as well, to get her out of Gaza, get her home to her family. And I can say now that she is safely home with her family in Iraq. I would ask that, obviously this is someone who's gone through pretty difficult circumstances. We would ask that everyone respect her privacy, of course. But I would say in a number of times over the past nearly 12 months, we have been able to get people out of Gaza. Obviously, our first priority is always the safety and security of American citizens. And when we're working to get people out, we always work first to get American citizens out. But there are a number of others who, in certain cases, for example, kids with cancer, other people who needed medical treatment who were not citizens of the United States, where we have been able to get involved and get them safely out of Gaza.
Can you explain a little more when you say work with your partners to help in the rescue? Can you speak a little more to the specific role that U.S. played as far as the embassy?
I can't really get into the full details. I can say she had already made it out of captivity herself inside Gaza after her captor had been killed. Remember, she was married to a Hamas fighter. We found out about the situation from the government of Iraq, who asked for our help. We then worked with the government of Israel to get her out of Gaza and get her safely home, working with other countries in the region. But I really can't go into some of the underlying details. Yeah. Go ahead.
Just following up on this question, is that the only case that you're aware of that the Yazidi girls are in Gaza and in that area? Because there are about 2,600 Yazidis that are missing, and I'm sure that the US government are helping the Iraqi government to rescue them.
Yeah, so the Secretary has spoken to this on a number of occasions, that you're right, it is somewhere around 2,600 who remain missing and unaccounted for. We obviously don't know where all of them are. This is the only case that I'm aware of. There may be others who are in Gaza. We only became aware of this case because, as I said, the government of Iraq brought it to our attention and asked for our help. I'm not aware of any others. Doesn't mean there aren't any, I'm just not aware of them.